Cheryl wasn't even in this episode. She deserves a break.
Yeah, she does deserve a break.
She just decided there's too much drama. She's gonna just stay out of it completely.
Sugar. Oh, honey, honey.
Hi!
Hi.
Welcome back to Taryn's Books and Beyond. This is my friend Lindsay, and this is our review of episode 6 of Riverdale. Faster, pussycats! Kill!
Actually, there wasn't any killing done today.
No, not today.
No, but they slew at the end with their performance.
Yes, they did.
Summers.
They killed it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just start with the major storyline thread first, which is Polly and Jason.
Betty tracks down where Polly is staying. It is not a group home. It's either psychiatric hospital or some sort of like corrective facility.
It's a Catholic asylum, basically.
The brochure almost sounded like one of those like disciplinary schools that you hear about.
It's one of those places where they cure your mental illness with Jesus. Like, I was worried when we met Polly, because we do meet Polly in this episode.
Yeah.
I was worried that she was going to be, like, completely brainwashed and was like, oh, I was such a bad girl, but now I found Christ and I'm repenting all my sins. But no, she's like, I'm trapped in a hellhole, please help me, Betty.
Also, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Several months along. I'm guessing we're now in October.
I'm assuming she told him shortly before they were running away.
Yeah, so that would be July 4th. So
4 or 5 months,
yeah,
probably,
so she...
in the middle.
Yeah.
She's showing, obviously.
Yeah. Betty and Jughead find her. They ask her about, like, what she and Jason were up to. So the entire plan to get Jason over to Sweetwater River wasn't just for him to run away, but he and Polly were going to run away.
When she was about to leave and meet Jason, her parents were waiting there with people from the Catholi-sylum.
So they obviously, at least the Coopers knew about some of the plan.
But yeah, so they basically seize Polly and declare her to be
insane.
Of unsound mind and get her sent away.
Like, this sounds very Victorian.
The entire Cooper family has not progressed socially in the past, like, 3 or 4 centuries.
So they do that, but poor Polly does not know that Jason is dead. So
yeah, she just finds out now.
Yeah, so Betty breaks it to her, and of course she freaks out because, well, Mrs. Cooper finds out because she's paying the bills.
Yeah.
So they are going to inform her whenever a visitor comes that isn't... I even doubt that frickin' Alice goes to visit Polly.
No, probably not.
Unless it's just to shame her.
It'd be like in Game of Thrones, she shows up at the bell, just walks around outside her room. Shame! Shame!
The B-plot is there's a Riverdale review at the high school.
It's a talent show!
Yeah. Josie takes it very seriously because, as we find out, her dad is a big-time jazz artist, and
he's one of those guys who's like, pop isn't real music. But Josie was named after Josephine Baker.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I hope she lives... I mean, she's already living up to the artistic stuff and the cat themes. Yeah. I'm hoping she lives up to Josephine's third other cool quality and eventually becomes a spy.
A bisexual spy.
Yes.
With a pet cheetah.
The McCoys aren't necessarily insane, but they're
just...
very stage parents.
Yeah.
All the stuff that Mayor McCoy says about how, like, Josie, you're the best girl, but don't find someone who won't upstage you, and make sure it's a woman of color to stay on brand. It's like, they're all things that make sense, but it's the way she said them that's kind of like...
You're sounding more like a studio exec than a...
Yeah.
This is something that, like...
But still not as bad. Of all the shit parenting, Mayor McCoy is probably the least bad.
Yeah, like, I'd say goes Fred, then Hermione...
Actually, then probably Sheriff Keller.
Yeah.
Then Hermione's a little iffy.
Well,
but...
more on the financial side of things.
Yeah. Then Mayor McCoy. Then I'd actually probably say Forsyth the second. Because him and Jughead seem to be on good terms.
It's just, shitty circumstances.
Yeah. Anyways, after that, it completely dives off the deep end with the Blossoms and the Coopers.
Yeah. Poor Archie has pretty crippling stage fright.
Whenever he looks out in the audience, the football team turns into werewolves. Josie is doing her thing.
Sort of freaking out, so she's being a bit of a diva, which drives Valerie off.
Yeah, and so she replaces her with Veronica.
Because Veronica's angry.
Yeah, but Veronica doesn't really add much to it.
Yeah.
So Valerie quits so that she can sing with Archie.
Help him out, give him confidence boost.
Yeah, and eventually she goes back to the Pussycats because she realizes that even if Josie's being a diva, she has found her voice with the Pussycats. And then when she finds out that's because her dad's in town, she's like, oh, that actually makes perfect sense because your dad kind of drives you off the wall. The most heartbreaking thing, in my opinion, is not just the fact that her dad walks out in the middle of their performance because, oh, Donna Summer isn't good enough for him. But no, it's because she starts crying on stage before he leaves.
Yeah.
So she knew he was gonna do exactly that.
Yeah. And, like, they do a quick aside to the bathroom at the ending montage with Mary McCoy comforting her.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because she's just bawling.
oh, man.
But Valerie is still able to help Archie out a bit, recover from his stage fright before she goes back for the Pussycats. And he performs on his own. And it's not bad. It's not, I think, special.
No.
It's more a good character moment because he was able to get over it.
Yeah.
He really did sound way better when he had Josie backing up on keyboard.
Yeah, he needs...
He needs to transfer into pop or rock.
Yeah, he
when
needs a band.
Because when he does folk, he's too bland.
It's not even folk, it's like trying to just white boy with guitar.
Yeah.
Shtick, and that's not going to work out for him. He needs backing vocals, he needs, I would say, heavier guitars, because he could probably pull that off. Like, if he joined a punk band, like something like Alexis... well, a punk band a la Alexis on Fire, where you do have someone who does growl vocals.
No, I want Archie to get into scene music. He needs an edge.
Yeah, he needs just that, more of a bite.
Mm-hmm.
And then the C plot is Fred and Hermione are getting together.
Veronica sees it, and she freaks out because the Andrews and the Lodgers are both separated, but Fred and Molly, it's basically like, hey, we haven't officially gotten divorced yet, but we might as well be.
Yeah.
Whereas Hermione and Hiram are like, hey, I'm in jail, so...
Could you take care of the financial stuff for me?
Could you head the mob for a bit?
Stick my neck out a bit for Hermione in that, as the child of divorced parents, sometimes you don't know what's actually going on until stuff actually happens.
And Hermione, just with the financial stuff, she's clearly trying to point it in a better direction for her and Veronica.
Yeah, because she
getting all the sketch people involved.
Yeah, because she says that, like, Hiram is pretty much ready to award the contract to the highest bidder and doesn't care, like how good they are, how clean they are. Like, for all we know, he was going to hire a contracting company that basically is just there to launder money. Hermione, at the very least, she's trying to help out the Andrews because they're kind of suffering financially.
And he doesn't want to actually tell his guys that they're in the red because last time he had to let someone go, it was Jughead's dad, and everything.
That was over theft.
Yeah, but so much shit went down.
Yeah, so Hermione is actually trying to be a good person, give a contract to a reputable contracting company. I do think that Veronica is bringing in too much of just that reaction, that knee-jerk reaction of, you're cheating on Dad.
I really need to meet Hiram to see if he's all he's cracked up to be, I guess.
Yeah, because Veronica is really idolizing her dad. But, like, if he's done this embezzling stuff, and he's giving money to the serpents and doing all of this stuff, Veronica's turning into a regular, like, mafia princess who does not know at all what Dad is actually up to.
Yeah, I feel like Hiram's stuff could be a potential plot for the second season. They can't do a How to Get Away with Murder thing where every season is a different dead body.
Yeah.
But it still needs to be, like, a mystery. And Hiram clearly still has his fingers in Riverdale business, even if he has, like, upgraded and moved to New York in the past.
Yeah. And, like, how many episodes do we have left?
I think it's supposed to be a 13-episode season.
Okay, so...
we're almost halfway through.
Okay. But there was a big twist at the end, so...
Wait, okay, first, have we covered everything else in the episodes yet? Oh yeah, Archie and Valerie kissed.
Oh, yeah, and it was great.
She is a checkerboard chick!
Woo! When Betty and Jughead went to find Polly at the asylum place, Polly said that Jason had a car set up with stuff for them to help restart their lives. She even, like, gave directions as to where it was. It was like, the fucking maple comes up again because it was like a maple syrup sign or whatever.
The abandoned maple plant.
Yeah. There's a bit of a confrontation between Betty and her parents. Her parents are her parents, so you can expect how well
She made it all up! Polly's just crazy!
Your father couldn't have killed Jason if he wanted to! I would have killed Jason!
Your father is too pathetic to even lift a gun.
Alice, why do you have to be so extra, Alice? Betty and Jughead meet up again, and she's like, oh shit, remember the car? We have to go find the car. So they go out there, they find the car, they find Jason's old Letterman jacket, and they find drugs.
Yeah.
They do go back to tell Sheriff Keller where the car is, and they have photos too. So they go back, they get Sheriff Keller, and then in the ending montage, they show the sheriff and some of the police there, and the car's on fire.
Yeah.
At least they have the photos, and they still have the physical car.
Because can you imagine the cluster it would have been if the sheriff got there and there was no car?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Betty also has issues with some Just that dash of paranoid schizophrenia that seems to run in the Cooper family.
Yeah. Now Alice can't say shit about that.
Yeah.
It's just,
Suck it, Alice.
Yeah, it's just, making sure that the chain of evidence is airtight.
Yes.
And that Alice doesn't somehow get her hands on the car.
Yeah.
Or has people who can, lose it for you.
And then the final scene, while the sheriff and his guys go to get the car, Betty and Jughead I guess they just broke into the asylum place. So it just cuts to them running through the halls of the asylum to Polly's room. And they throw the door open, and they're like, and I was like, oh shit, she's either dead or escaped. And fortunately, she was escaped. She's not dead. And so, yeah, they see a shattered window, there's some blood on the glass, but if you're gonna be breaking the window with your bare hands, you're gonna get up bloody anyways.
Yeah.
And Polly she's just out. She just pieced out, she's gone. Who knows where she is?
She probably wouldn't have gone far, though.
We don't know when she escaped, though.
Even then, moving around like that, she probably didn't carry anything or pack anything. For all we know, she is huffing it on foot.
Yeah. And would she try and get away from the city, or would she try and come back to Riverdale?
Yeah.
Well, she's probably gonna show up, drenched in rain and bloody at Thornhill, barging in with a knife or some shit,
looking like frickin' Carrie.
Confronting the Blossom parents.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, because the Blossom parents made Jason break up with Polly.
Yeah, so that's why Polly got all upset.
Mm-hmm.
Those two families are just, the worst.
By the end of the season, one of the Coopers or one of the Blossom parents are going to be dead. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, at least one. I wouldn't be surprised if, both. I could see Cheryl making herself an orphan. So, yeah, I think that was pretty much most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very good episode.
Yeah.
5 out of 5 milkshakes.
So, guess that's what happened in a little town called Riverdale?
You did it! Ah! Oh yeah, Betty and Jughead kiss too.
Nah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm just gonna elect to ignore it.
Okay.
I refute your reality and substitute it with my own.
Gotcha.